you watched the last video on the Lincoln, you saw that we finished up the bodywork on the roof. Now we are ready to spray some primer and single stage urethane. So here's the last look of our bodywork, and what we've got is ordered some paint and primer from Summit Racing. We've got a epoxy primer, and then we are going to follow that up with 2K primer, and then we have a single stage urethane to go on top of that. So I realized I didn't get any pictures or video of the epoxy primer, but we laid down 2 coats of epoxy primer, and now we have our 2K primer all sprayed, and we've started sanding that, lots and lots of sanding. So as soon as we get all this sanded down, we'll be ready for our single stage urethane, and of course lots of sanding as always, but it's coming along, and I am no professional, so I am not doing a how-to here or anything, just trying to give y'all some updates. I would recommend, if y'all are looking for someone who knows what they're doing, because I do not, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants, take a look at Weird Beard and some of the projects he's worked on. He is really good with bodywork, and he explains things very well. So if you're looking for a channel to follow along on, of course he does automotive repairs too, he does pretty much everything on his project vehicles, but he'll go in depth on bodywork. So I've learned a lot, just following along on his channel, and watching his weekly uploads, or I don't remember how often he uploads, but take a look at his channel. Very good information there. So like I said, we've got our 2K here that we're working on sanding. I'm just sanding away, trying to get this thing ready for urethane, the single stage urethane paint. So it's Ford Wimbledon White is the color we've chosen. So I'm excited to show you all that. And this will probably be the last update until we're done with paint. So now here's our finished product. And we've still got some more compounding to do. And I'll probably show y'all a final update in a later video once I get all the trim and stuff back on, and give you all a little foresight, because I'm actually doing a voiceover. I was really long-winded on this part of the video, so I just decided we're just gonna voice over it. I'll fill you all in on the details, and I've got even more details because I've got foresight because I'm coming from the future here. Anyway, so what we ended up with is we did end up with some orange peel in the paint, and I've got most of it sanded out, and you really only see it when the light hits it just right, and I'm really kind of scared to wet sand it anymore. And I was kind of explaining that in the video, and like I said, I was really long-winded. And what I ended up doing was I decided to go ahead and sand some more, sand and compound more, and I did get it a little bit better than what's here, but I also burned through it in another spot. And so I had already burned through on the B pillar, and it ended up taping that off, spraying that B pillar, and I'm actually proud of myself. I did a good job of blending it and then sanding it in. You cannot tell where that was blended in. And on the passenger side A pillar, I burned through it, and I taped off just a little spot and painted it, and when I was trying to blend it in, I burned through another spot. And so I ended up just taping off that whole A-pillar on the passenger side and resprayed that whole A-pillar and, you know, blended the paint and sanded it, and guarantee you, you can look at it with a magnifying glass if you want to. You cannot tell where that is blended in. So I'm going to pat myself on the back there, because I was really worried and thinking I was going to have to, you know, rough sand the whole car, the whole roof, and respray the whole thing. But I actually got it blended in really good. It took forever with the sanding. I'm talking about like minute little, like baby little sanding to get rid of a, you know, a kind of a, not a tape line, because I kind of blended it, but there was a little bit of a line there that I had to just kind of fade in, and it was some tiny little sanding, but I did get it. Anyway, so I'm not, you know, I'd say I'm not 100% satisfied with the paint. Like I said, it's still got a little bit of an orange peel look to it when the light hits it just right. But you can go out and look at a lot of new cars. They've got some orange peel and stuff in it. So I'm making excuses for myself now, but it's not perfect. Like I said, this is my first time. I think some of it goes back to probably not a perfect 2K. I was really having some issues with the 2K primer. What I would recommend, you know, I'll go back through if y'all want, you know, all the paint, all the supplies I used, the spray guns, all that stuff. I'll go back through that if you want in a separate video and show that. I don't want to get into all that detail here because it can get really long. But I think the nozzle on my paint gun, to be honest, was probably too small for the 2K primer. I may do with it, but I think I would have gotten a better finish out of it if I think it didn't lay down perfect. And I did sand it, and I thought it was really good, but I think it wasn't as good as I thought it was. And so that led to not a perfect base coat. I mean, it's a single stage paint, so the first coat of the single stage was not perfect, and I also did not thin it, which I messed up there. I should have thinned that paint because it sprayed in too thick and, you know, caused some texturing. Also kind of tiger striped that first coat because it wasn't laying out, it wasn't spraying out the best. So anyway, I kind of messed up on that first. Of course, that is the first coat of single stage I have ever sprayed in my life. And I probably should have just sanded it off, but I continued on, and I think I got it decent, but I then ran out of paint. So I bought a quart, and a quart was not enough, ran out, and so ordered a gallon because I didn't want to run out again. So I ended up having to sand it because by the time I got the gallon, I was outside of my recoat time. And I will say, there is not a single paint store other than O'Reilly's that will sell to me, not being a body shop, within a 40-mile circle. At least that's as far out as I went. And so I could have bought supplies at O'Reilly's, but comparing the price at O'Reilly's between Summit and O'Reilly's, I would have more than doubled my cost, and I just didn't want to put that much into it. I have over $300 in paint, primer, and thinners and activators and all that. Over $300 in it, so I'm not gonna. Anyway, we'll get into that in another video. But all that to say, ordered from Summit, but there was no way I could get it within the recoat time of the paint. So I had to sand it and then recoat it, and I did. So I ended up with two or three coats of epoxy primer. Then I think it was 2 coats of epoxy primer, 3 coats of 2K primer, or maybe I got those flipped, and then I did 2 coats of the single stage, sanded it, and then 2 more coats, and that's what I ended up with. So this is it. Like I said, I will give you more of an update. There is still more polishing I need to do to it, but I'm going to let it sit, or I did let it sit until we're about to jump on some interior work with doing some floor repairs and stuff on this, a little foreshadowing to the next video. And so you'll see that in a later video. I'll give you the final finish on it, but I did let it sit just to let the paint cure some more. And then I went back with a coarser compound. I bought, I don't remember which one, but I bought a coarser than what I was currently using, and then a finer than what I was currently using, and went back over the whole surface with those, and ended up getting the finish even better than it is right now. So I still want to go back and wax it. I've not done that yet, but like I said, I will give you all an update. This is going to do it for this video. The next video you will see, we're going to jump in, we're going to pull the carpet out, and that's going to lead to some floor repairs. There's a whole lot more stuff we're doing to this car, so make sure you're subscribed if you're enjoying these videos. There's plenty more to come, and like I said, I'll give you a final paint update once we finish the floor repairs and all that, because I put all the trim on it, and then I kind of did a video showing all that once it's all back together. Again, y'all are kind of watching these. I wanted to finish this project before I started these videos, so car's actually done right now, but y'all aren't going to see that yet. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more.